Contradiction. Power of God.
Ah, yes.
This is one that you wanted to do.
I like
Tried
it.
to make it onto the podcast. With God, all things are possible. Matthew 19:26.
Absolutely.
Nothing like half a verse taken out of context.
Yeah, right.
All right, let's see the contradiction. The Lord was with Judah and drave out the inhabitants of the mountain. I love the word drave out.
Yes, lots of draving.
I don't. But could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley because they had iron chariots. Woo!
Yes. So, yes, somehow God was able to destroy the iron chariots of Pharaoh in Egypt, along with also the 10 plagues before that.
Yeah, so the chariots of Pharaoh, though, he didn't just destroy them. He did it in style. The parting of the Red Sea.
Totally dismantling.
Yeah.
Yes.
They get stuck in the mud. The Israelites walk through on dry ground. The chariots get stuck in the mud. Wheels are falling off.
Right.
People are screaming. Water crashes in. But
it's a rough situation.
These iron chariots, no. These are...
Right. I mean, he created
These
the whole
must have been
universe.
American-made iron chariots.
Yeah, right. American-made. You think about the power to create the whole universe, worldwide flood. There's all these things that, you're assuming to be true as you go through the Bible.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, the chariots of iron.
Hey, he got some chariots of iron. No. Can't stop that.
Okay, so first off, we got to address Matthew, okay?
Yeah.
So Matthew 19:26, red flag always when you have like 6 words. And like that's the main point. Mm-hmm. When you have the ... after the quotation mark, that tells you, what, I should probably read some more. Let me read some more of this. That's
at least read the whole verse.
At least read the whole verse.
Yeah.
At least. Okay.
If not more.
So with God, all things are possible. What is he even talking about? Okay. So this is, you have the rich young man that comes up. He's trusting in his own riches and things. A lot of the Jews would have a general understanding that if you were wealthy and healthy, you were righteous. You were good to go. Right.
Abraham.
Right, yeah.
Job,
all these rich patriarchs.
You look back and clearly he was right with God. Look at that. He's got some camels.
So the disciples, they had this understanding, and so that's why they reacted in verse 25 when Jesus basically says, "There's no way a rich person can get into heaven on his own. Can't do it." Then the disciples, the jaw hits the floor. Who then can be saved?
How in the world can I get there then?
So then that's when verse 26 comes up.
Yeah.
He says, but Jesus looked at them and said, he's just like, how long is it going to take for you to guys get this? He looks at them first, okay? But then he says these powerful words here. He says, with man, this is impossible. So what's impossible? Salvation. Man can't do it on his own.
Your own.
Right. You can't do it with man. This is impossible. But with God, all things are possible. Mm-hmm. So what's the whole point of that passage? He's saying that God can save souls, man cannot.
Yeah.
Okay, so then they're pairing
it's a good
that
thing
up.
You do that because you can't stop a chariot.
Yeah, right. Yes, goodness. Indeed.
Okay.
So then they pair that up with Judges 1:19. Now, remember, Judges, context, right? This was not a good time in Israel's history. No. Not a good time. And they were not doing what was right. They were failing to trust in God. They were being wise in their own eyes. Okay, so knowing that that's where Israel's at right now, then we look at this and we see that God has given them tons of victory. Mm-hmm. And even around this verse, you have victory. In verse 18, right before it, Judah also captured Gaza with its territory, and Ashkelon with its territory, and Ekron with its territory. These are powerful places with powerful people. And even just to skip 19 real quick and go to verse 20, you have Hebron, which is also called Kiriath Arba, the city of Arba, was given to Caleb. And he's just like this one guy.
The one-man
runs up.
Machine.
Yeah, Arba was the greatest man of the Anakim. You have the Anakim there, the sons of Anak. Who can stand before the sons of Anak? These are the guys that when Caleb and Joshua spied out the land originally, the other 10 spies go, whoa, these guys, in the same exact place too, by the way. And they said, there's no way we can do it. The whole nation turned. Caleb, he's like, no, God can do anything. And so he runs up and takes the mountain himself. But we back up to verse 19. There's something different here. It says, and the Lord was with Judah. That's good.
Yeah.
And he took possession of the hill country. That's good. But he could not drive out the inhabitants of the plain. That seems strange. Is there a reason? Because they had chariots of iron. And so that becomes the key. So then you think, well, to be biblically consistent, I know that it's not about a limitation of God's power, so it must be the limitation of the people. What was the limitation in the whole book? They were faithless. They were backing off from God. So then I think of even Peter walking on the water. And Jesus says, come out, and he does. He starts out well, just like Judah did here. Starts out well. But then what does he do? He takes his eyes off Jesus, and he looks down over here at the wind and the water. And he goes, oh no, I can't do it. And that's when he starts sinking. Yep. After having walked on the water.
You take your
Jesus
eyes
right
off
there.
Of Jesus
yes.
and put it on your distractions.
Yes.
And that's what happened.
So here you have the same situation where they're focused on the tools of the enemy. And we're actually thinking that, even though God's given all this other victory, can't do this.
So the application to us is not that this is a contradiction, but the application to us is simply this. We need to keep our eyes on God and not the things around us.